Greetings, our friends. We are those of Laitos, happy to be among this circle again, though we are always present in some form as you do these workings. We simply wish to pass our vibration among you and offer a loving reminder that you are all vessels capable of expressing messages of love light, transmitting this vibration, and it is your unique voice that is called for by your other selves in the world. So we offer the comfort to not fear that your own voice will be rejected. And this goes for those beyond even this circle. For you are all, as you are aware, but we will affirm, channels of the infinite creator's creation each and every day. With every breath that you take and action that you make in the world, you are being that living channel. And so channeling is effortless to you. It can be easy and it can be fun and it can be unique to you. Understand that there are hearts and minds that will receive their breakthrough only by hearing the message through your vessel. Even if the words are said in another vessel and they are the same words, understand that for many, it will only be when your voice delivers it that it will hit the mark, so to speak. And so we offer this encouragement to continue on subtly in your workings to be vessels of this nature, or to hold it more fully in your awareness that you are this instrument of the One, even when you do not speak. And we offer the understanding that there will come a time where each of you in this world are regularly channeling in this manner your own higher guidance systems. And within that are a myriad of entities like ourselves, of higher densities, and also of realms you have yet to explore, and of many consciousness types. And so you will all have this ability and use it regularly to vocally transmit messages to each other from these inner planes and outer planes as easy as you talk about the weather. There will come a time very soon where you will no longer be reading the transcripts and listening to this other self or that other self channeling being A or collective C. You each will be those same individuals that you watch on your screens. You will be them. All of you will be them. And so this situation, this scenario of the beings channeling only through certain vessels will come to an end. This age of the channeler and the audience will fall away, and a new era where all are in constant communication with higher realms will take its place. This is all we wish to share with you, beloveds, at this time. Is there a query on the heart of this circle within this frame of topic that you wish to have us offer our thoughts on?
Hi, Laitos. Thanks for sharing that message. I had a question on the back of that, and that is to do with, is there a timeline? Is this something that will happen in the near future, or is this sort of over decades, or is there a timeline that this falling away of this type of channeling will happen?
I am Laitos, and we greet you, our brother in love. We do not speak in exact terms as far as the timeline, for all is shifting and moving according to the fluctuations of your collective consciousness. We peruse the various probability, possibility vortices, and we see this era is fast approaching. However, we are not bound by concept of linearity any longer. So it would be a disservice to tell you a timeline from our perspective when we are not fully integrated with your linear frameworks. Does this satisfy the query?
Yes, it does. Thank you. And does this have anything to do with the seeming age of disclosure that we're now in terms of disclosure on Earth, that seems to be coming, where the populace at large are going to be made aware of extraterrestrial and non-human entities?
We are those of Laitos and would say this is one way that this age we speak of begins to manifest itself. This is one way. For your general populace of other selves will be presented for the first time en masse with a catalyst with which to begin to seek within. And given the state of your world and the blending of fourth density energies, to hear the voices of the higher guidance systems and the aligned beings within one's own reality. To be able to do this will be easier than it has ever been. And so we do see resonance with this era approaching and the age of disclosure, as you call it. Does this satisfy the query?
Yes, thank you. That's all I have in response to your message. Thank you.
We thank you, our brother. At this time, we will step back, though are still in session with you. If you wish to receive our vibrations of conditioning in the way that we offer and or converse with us energetically, we are here. But for now, we step away from the podium, as it were, and allow our other brothers and sisters to come through. We leave you in the light and the love of our one infinite creator, utterly.
We greet you in the love and the light of the one infinite creator. We're those of Oxal, and we are again in this instrument. We hope to deliver great tidings of love and to answer any queries that might touch the heart of the beautiful minds and hearts of the circle.
Thank you, Oxal. I have a question. In modern culture, many people seem to respond quickly to messages, and that's like a sign of respect. But sometimes I delay my absence or don't respond at all, and that might be interpreted as like a disrespect. Yet some people communicate differently and may not be feeling drawn to respond. From like a spiritual perspective, how can one discern whether the silence is like an expression of my own authenticity, or if it's a catalyst for growth, or if it's like an avoidance of a relationship? How can we honor both our own nature and the expectations of others with love?
Well, there's lots more. And we appreciate this query. We hope that we can give you some depth by which to grow from such situations. These technological advancements that allow communication in a regard as you described. These gadgets are new in your societal structure. The rules and etiquettes, that is, created by such gadgets, allows a vast array of interpersonal human catalysts. Each message sent is an opportunity to greet with love the message received. However one chooses to respond is a process of one's free will due to innumerable ways the human mind and programmed distortions of your day-to-day living can create a near uncalculatable amount of responses so we would say that these differences in how two individuals respond or perceive whichever way the response is given to the received message. Is incredibly individual and should always be seen as interactions designed to lead you back to love. If inside yourself you do not feel that you are in a resonance with a response at that time, then that is your free will in action. This should not, however, be a tool for negative action, as we would always advise finding the love in any interpersonal interaction via electronic or verbal means. We would say that this dilemma could come down to the expectations placed by either individual, and that this would be a fruitful place to explore the root of the catalyst. Additionally, we would add that as your race and the positive movements in your societies, as these develop, the need for the gadgets in order to communicate will fall away, and the choice to respond will become far more personal. So these gadgets could be seen as training tools to help one greet messages received with love prior to the evolutionary terms of the same description. We thank you for this query, and we hope that the answer has been helpful. We would ask if there was any further questions you would ask for us to clarify.
Thank you, Oxal. That makes sense.
We are those of Oxal, and we thank you. We would ask if there are any other queries, as we are happy to share and eager to connect to your energies as best we can.
Thank you, Oxal. I have a query completely different than what we've been talking about. Is there any way that you could maybe possibly connect with the canine energy? However you do that, with my Marine son's dog. His name is Bandit. He's very old. And I just want to know if he is giving up on life and stopped eating and drinking, or what. He's been diagnosed with nothing wrong with him. He's in otherwise perfect health. Is there any way you could connect with something, some way, just to clarify what I feel is going on?
We are those of Oxal, and we shall attempt to help you with your query in the limited way we are able. The canine is suffering in some way. We would say with a hopelessness. This is not fully clear. Many second density companion entities form near human levels of emotional connection over their lives. But the second density form in which they inhabit is not always built to be able to process these feelings as clearly as humans can. This is one of the final steps in second density consciousness, to understand the self as individual via these emotional cues and ties that the companion aspect of their nature creates opportunities for their spirits to individualize in such a way that human incarnation is the natural next placement. Do not despair, for all creatures have different awareness of life's beauty. We would advise giving as much love and devotion to the animal's care and to show it that it is still unique and beautiful, even if it is not what it once was physically. We hope this has helped, and we can assure you that it knows that it is loved.
Thank you.
We are those of Oxal, and we thank you for that question. We would ask if there are any other thoughts that you would like us to give reflections on.
Hi, Oxal. Thank you so much for your service tonight. My question I have, it relates to our telepathy exercises that we perform every week. We're learning to tap into our energy signatures, and I'm curious if you have anything to share, any guidance in terms of what to look for when we're trying to understand each other's um, unique signatures, whether we need to see or feel. Any thoughts you can share on that? I appreciate it. Thank you.
We are those of Oxal. We are really thankful for this query. This is such an important area for human beings to start to develop, and we are so joyous at watching your progressions and experimentations into this area. We would say that understanding the vibrational template is much like watching waves on a flat pool. The chakras could be seen as stones dropped into the water, and the ripples and how they interact could be seen as the entire system. When looking for those patterns, each individual will find their optimal way of sensing and interpreting those vibrations. For some, it may be ripples of color. For others, something more akin to a melody. Only the seeker will be able to refine the interpretation and awareness in their own way. We would say, though, this is vital work along the path of connection, realizing the vibrational connection between you all will help you to realize that you are all one. And remember that love is always central, that in every signature, that will be the strongest vibration to find and the one that will strongest link you all together. I hope that this has helped, my brother. Is there anything else I can clarify for you?
Yes, thank you. That was beautiful. I love the visualization of the ripples. I'm afraid I want to ask more the practical terms or practical approach of it. Whether we should be, meditating and visualizing something or trying to feel them out. I'm trying to understand more. If you could explain, and I'm sorry to ask you if I'm asking to repeat yourself, but I'm trying to understand it more in practical terms on what we should be doing or thinking about to read that signature. Thank you.
We are those of Oxal, and we are happy to explain further. Each individual mind-body-spirit complex has its own unique configuration of inner and outer senses that allow it to model the third density experience. Most of the things that you already sense are vibrational. The eyes pick up photons, which are just vibration. The ears sonically, I correct the instrument. The ears pick up the sonic vibration of air molecules. Taste and smell are the resonant vibration of chemicals. The inner senses work in similar analogues, except the vibrations are ones that you are not normally aware of. Awareness is key. Open yourself up to those awarenesses that the range of vibrations you can sense expand. Think in between the senses, the gaps. Nothing is empty. By expanding the awareness in whatever way is most suited for that mind, body, spirit configuration, will allow you to slowly, as the systems develop, have greater realization and interpretation of what this awareness begins to open you up to. May we say, all here, and many who read or hear this are able and should be taking these steps in awareness. And as we have said, the first step on all of these endeavors is to find the love. The heart expresses more of your vibrational field than the mind. When attempting to communicate in any way, the heart is a closer expression to truth. We hope this has helped. And we ask if there is another brief question at this time.
Thank you so much. That was great. I don't know. That's all I have for now. So thank you.
We are those of Oxal, and we thank you for the question. It is of importance for humans to widen their awareness. The only thing that separates any of us is awareness, and the levels of separation that define the awareness our spirit is able to integrate. So we hope that all of you continue this process as you are all worthy of the Creator's light. And you should all know that the only thing stopping you is that difference of awareness. As was spoken earlier by our brother Laitos, you are all connected to it already. You just need to widen the perspective slightly to know how fully integrated you already are. We thank you all for this incredible connection, and we leave you all in the love and light of the one infinite and glorious Creator. Adonai, my brothers and sisters, Adonai.
Greetings, beloveds. We are with you again, happily with you again. We are those of Lakesh, greeting you in the love and stupendous light of our one infinite Creator. We are again happy to be with you and to share space with our brothers and sisters of Laitos and Oxal. We are very pleased at the discussions and at the questions that have been asked by your precious selves. We are overjoyed at your progress as a collective at this time, far beyond what your eyes can see. A marvelous transformation is in the works within your collective heart, and it is very, very good. We will continue to support this transition, and in support of this transition, we offer a brief transmission. We of Lakesh sincerely request that in the opening of your heart, one of the easiest practices is to engage more in the act of playtime. You may be what you have called adults. However, the playtime, the vibration of this action, this series of actions, and this state of consciousness within yourselves activated when you engage in playtime is a state that is quite advanced and one that will pave the way for an easier experience in the cultivation of spiritual maturity. We offered the idea that it is very important for you to play, for you to engage in this vibration where the goal is simply to enjoy and explore and express. It is in this state of vibration, and your science has revealed this as well to some degree, that you form new connections within your minds, and there is an additional set of connections formed within your metaphysical beingness. The green ray is supported by the vibration of play and playtime. And if this idea seems absurd to you, our dearly beloveds, this is the perfect catalyst to initiate new growth. For as you discover why the idea of play, the idea of letting the self play and have moments to simply experience and express and explore with no agenda and no shame. If this idea is abhorrent, therein lies the fruits. For as you unravel what keeps you from being able to engage in play and play time, truly you will begin to untie the knot of wounds associated with judgment and self-worth and shame. And these three denser catalysts of the mind, heart, and body are truly what keep the individual from full green ray expression. It is a fear, the fear to be fully open-hearted. And so we invite you, our friends, to begin to untie this knot of fear within the green ray through the act of play and play time. It can be as simple as walking through the forest barefoot and seeing how many cool sticks you can find and using them in all manner of delight, or the stacking of rocks, or the noise making with a bottle. This transmission was not as brief as we intended, but we are grateful for the chance to share it. At this time, we would briefly offer ourselves the service of queries received and reflected upon, reiterating that you are truly the great source of the knowledge that you seek, and to use your discernment to assess the vibration of our words, reference it to your heart, and be the decider of what you will receive. We are Lakesh, and we are at your service now.
Lakesh, I have a question relating to what you were saying about the green ray supporting play mentality, and play mentality being a high vibrational state that forms new connections in our mind and in our metaphysical beingness also. It's been a social conundrum of mine for many years where I literally will not play games with my best friend because he becomes violent sometimes when he loses. According to your understanding of this play mentality, I'm confused. Am I supposed to just make a super duper awesome Magic the Gathering deck and just play like I actually would like to and probably win, and allow him to process that catalyst? Or do I just do what I've done always and not play as good as I could to placate the emotional situation?
I am, we are Lakesh, and our heart is moved, our brother, and this instrument as well, that you would, even in an leisure act, consider the heart of your brother to such a degree that you would consider your other selves' well-being to this extent moves us great. Our dearly beloved, we would say, in our humble opinion, that you should balance this love in action with love for the child within you that simply wishes to play to its fullest ability. The catalyst of your other self is for them to navigate, and we perceive that as you play this game and engineer a situation that would prevent this catalytic response from happening to your companion, that this companion is being robbed of that experience that will put them more fully face to face with this vision of themselves, in the hope that over time they will see that there is imbalance and see that there is the robbing of their joy when they behave in this way at experiencing a loss. And the hope is with time, if this catalyst is continually allowed to play out, they will begin to make a change. However, if the catalyst for them is deviated by your loving intentions to placate them, then they are not receiving this stimulus as was intended by their higher mind. And so we offer the idea to be of most service to this other self. Play to your heart's content. We encourage the making of the awesome deck and the complete obliteration of the other self in game time, in the spirit of true and honest play to your own beloved inner child. In this being of your most authentic self, in this being of your most joyful, playful self, the vibrations will positively affect your companion, even if it does not seem so. Many times, the outward reaction is not a reflection of the subconscious reactions or the metaphysical changes that are initiated by this collision with the higher vibration of play. And so we say, have fun, our brother. You are being of most service when you are being in your integrity of play. Do not fear the catalyst that this other self must experience for their own well-being. All will be well, we assure you.
Thank you so much.
We thank you, our friend. Is there another question that we might offer our opinion and perspective on?
Hi, Lakesh. Thank you for the message on play. I had a question about, I'd heard that fear was introduced to the human society during the time of Lemuria. And I'm wondering whether you're able to speak about how that fear was introduced to the Lemurians.
We thank you, our brother, for this very loaded query. We of Lakesh peer through the layers of time-space and find this moment where the consciousness of those of your Lemurian selves opened a window. We correct this instrument. this moment in time where the consciousness was as open as a window. Your Lemurian selves were very open. There were very little constraints on their awareness, on what their awareness would receive. This allowed survival and the integration of their magical nature because they were continuously open in their mind, body, and spirit. This radiation of beingness is highly attractive to those of higher densities, to those who are in layers of reality you perceive not. It is as a beacon, as a flame, and if the flame is bright, the moths will come. And so there was this moment where we perceive the moth drawing to the flame and the flame allowing it in. Those of our opposite polarity, you would say, were attracted to this emanation of your Lemurian collective consciousness. And though they were unable to become physical and dwell with those of the Lemurian communities, they could interact with the consciousness, and they did for a time, and planted their seeds along the way, much the same way that the black widow weaves a most beautiful web to attract the innocent bug, slowly wrapping it up until it does not. It cannot move. This inception of consciousness was of this nature. Your Lemurian selves did not know what was happening, or nor did they have any fear. They willfully invited this collective of non-physical entities into their inner plane space and engaged with them until they gradually reduced their states of awareness, even towards the transition into a more closed-minded, closed-hearted entity. They did not realize what happened. But such is the nature of the infinite creator, to weave great adventures whereby it should know itself And so we acknowledge that despite all this, at the highest level, there was a co-creative agreement to have this dance so that eventually there might be the full circle moment and the resolution of all paradoxes, as our brothers and sisters of Ra speak of when you advance to your collective sixth density expression.
May I ask a further question, Curtis, if about that subject? While you were talking there, I was still, I'm assuming kind of connected, and I felt like I got a huge array of images and like a whole story. Can you confirm that I was kind of seeing what was going on and not imagining it because of the story?
We are those of Lakesh, and we have been transmitting imagery, as we have been sharing our vision of this point in the time-space library. The instrument has been watching and perceiving these images as though a movie. So we can confirm that if you were also seeing images, you were connected to this same stream.
Thank you so much for letting me see that. It was a wonderful story. Like, it's really choked me up. So from what I can tell, that event led to all of the kind of the systems in play as we know as being humans now, like the way the chakras work, the way we're cut off from it and we have to find them. That all started then, right?
We would agree.
Thank you. That's opened my mind. I'm going to spend the next month researching the area. Thank you ever so much.
We thank you, our beloved brothers.
May I just ask a follow-up from your answer to my question before? From what I understand, from what you were saying was that there was an element of something happened which introduced an element of distrust towards the other self. Is that, did I understand that correctly?
The inception of the collective of consciousness that laid seeds within your Lemurian selves, collective consciousness, did breed this new ability to no longer trust the other self. It, in our view, was not a specific event that caused distrust of self to other self, but rather the general dawning of this ability to distrust the other self. That is to say, there needed to be no external action for the other self to now distrust the other self. Only the illusion that an other self would now do something, could do something in violation to the self. May we provide?
Apologies. So was this an idea? Was it a, like gossip, innuendo type, an idea that somebody, that another self doesn't have one's best interest at heart?
We would agree with the assessment that it was an idea. An idea is how it would start. There is no fixed external action that initiated the thought, rather, with the merging and inclusion of the collective consciousness that was not of those like your Lemurian selves. It gave birth to the ability to form this idea of distrust. There was no one action externally that began this. You mentioned the gossip, or perhaps imagine an event like the stealing of one's goat, or the eating of one's fish, or the looking at of one's companion. But these surface level actions were not the cause or the catalyst for this external aspect to take root and manifest as separation, and the byproducts of separation consciousness being distrust and all other emotions and reactions.
Thank you for that. And then just lastly on this topic, I wanted to ask, in the same way that those of Egypt and Atlantis and of the Americas, they were visited by social memory complexes such as Ra, El Ra, and Quetzalcoatl. Did the Lemurians, other than the negative polarity you mentioned, did they have any social memory complexes or any higher density beings visit them during their time?
We of Lakesh will shock this instrument by revealing that there were no members of social memory complexes of this confederation of angels and planets that visited those of Lemuria at that time in their first age. There were a myriad of positive and neutrally aligned entities that they engaged with, that they held community with and learned from. However, in these ages, they possessed still an openness of being where they could receive the guidance and the support of their higher mind to some extent. Therefore, there was not a sufficient charge of calling to draw in the specialized support, the specialized guidance that a social memory complex employs when sent from the Confederation. You may ask us for clarity if you desire on this matter.
No, thanks. I think I've got enough to chew on, as it were. But thank you. I've enjoyed this interaction. Thank you.
We thank you, our brother, our brothers.
I do have one thing that maybe you could clarify a little bit. You labeled the support of the Confederation or the Angels, or however you want to say it, as highly specialized, and that the Lemurians didn't have a sufficient charge of calling to draw in that specialized support. Would you be able to describe that specialized support from the Confederation as it differs from the others that were positive that did help the Lemurians?
We are those of Lakesh, and we may, our brother, those that were of positively polarized natures and engaged with those of your Lemurian selves at various ages and points of space-time were able to corporealize to some degree and engage with your Lemurian selves. They were of various civilizations undergoing their own evolutionary process. They were not what you would call social memory complexes themselves, advanced though they were not able or had not yet been presented with the opportunity to form a social memory complex, nor had they approached our Confederation and engaged with us in any meaningful way, even if they were aware of our presence. So they were advanced, but not our level of advance. And we do not mean this in what you would call big-headed way. We simply mean that our level of evolutionary progress was farther along than these advanced, positive, stellar races.
So basically what you're saying is that the races and groups that would have helped them would have been much lower density, probably all fourth density then, I'm assuming?
You may make this assumption.
So then there are fourth density groups that are not necessarily considered social memory complexes, but yet they're positive.
This is correct.
Could you clarify some of the differences between a fourth density social memory complex and a fourth density positive complex? how would you word it? Mind, body, spirit complex?
Please restate the query, our brother.
Could you give us a comparison between what would be considered a fourth density positive social memory complex and a fourth density complex that is not a social memory complex?
We are those of Lakesh, and we will attempt to make this comparison. We offer the vision of the solitary, positively polarized entity of a different planet than yours and a different civilization. And this individual is telepathic and may exchange information with its other selves, but it has not completely merged minds and memories with all of its other selves. There is still this holding of the walls of identity, we would call them. The moment that the individuals of this civilization let down that final veil of identity, there will be a merging of all personality traits and memories and information, to the degree that there will no longer need to be a one-to-one exchange of information from mind to mind. It is simply all present, all memory, all identity aspects are present within the one mind because they have merged. If you are in connection with this fourth density entity, that has yet to form a social memory complex, they may give you their perspective on spiritual matters or metaphysics according to their perspective, but their other self back on the home world, they would not be able to share the memories or information from that other self with you directly unless it was first relayed to them. However, the same entity that has formed a social memory complex with its civilization will be able to transmit and share the memories and perspective of itself and the other selves on the entire planet. So, same individuals, but one has more access and ability.
Thank you very much.
We thank you, our brother, and offer that at any time you may ask us for further clarity on this. We understand that it is quite exciting to consider the differences and similarities of your fourth density selves and other selves that you will meet in the near future. Is there another query on the heart of this circle before we depart?
Thank you, Lakesh. I was wondering if you could speak of relationships between catalysts with like online gaming and our spiritual evolution. Sometimes games can bring us like these joyful experiences, but over time they may be repetitive or emotionally charged or less fulfilling. When conflict arises with friends through these experiences, even after forgiveness, the relationship may feel like it changed. But like, what opportunities for learning and polarization are presented in these situations? Like, and how can a seeker know whether it's time to continue or change the nature of the relationship or move on?
We thank you, our brother, for this very relevant query. We find amusement in considering that an avenue of play and playtime can lead to all of those things that are not playtime or play related, such as the more dense emotions of frustration and hurt and perhaps anger at what occurs during the play. This amuses us, for it does not need to be. It is a choice to make the play something that which it is not. It is the choice of the incarnation to assign weight and gravity to play that it was never meant to have. We offer the idea that although the play time and the avenue of play is being distorted in the engagement such that it leads to these distortions of negative negative emotions, that it is, as you say, an opportunity to evaluate the self, what the self is trying to teach self and other self. For example, if the losing of the game or the mission causes great anger, it is the opportunity to reflect on the nature of that anger, if it is really about the play or if it is because some other internal or real world power dynamic / struggle was assigned to the play activity. And then with time, one may begin to separate the anger of the play activity from the situation or memory that one has unresolved and yet affixed to this activity. And so it is, as with all catalysts, the opportunity for understanding oneself And if it is the frustration that ramps up, it is the opportunity to reflect on where frustration is had in the real world, so to speak, where frustration is had in other avenues of life, where perhaps the other self feels helpless or restricted, and yet again takes those baggages and puts them in the play activity with the hopes that they might be able to iron them out virtually and get some relief physically. But this does not usually work out, and therefore there is the explosion of the emotion, because at the deepest level, one understands the game will not be able to assuage the real life traumas, pains, and difficulties had. And so these are opportunities for inner work, a moment to pause and journal, writing the question, why did the self become upset over activity X and Y? Where in the everyday life or experience of the self has this same dynamic of frustration and anger played out? And you will find that your guides and guardian angels will jump at the opportunity to write words of clarity through you, through the paper, to assist you in untying those knots. We, in this regard, would say that play, yet again, becomes this avenue of growth, though for our intent, it is to be on the more positive, freeing, healing side of play, not so much the kicking up of the burning coals, so to speak. We offer the idea that before approaching play in this way, one has a heart-to-heart with the self, reminding the self that this is for exploration, expression, and play, that this is supposed to be where my inner child runs wild, jumping and leaping and doing all of the wonderful things. And I am happy to do this with my other self. This is how we bond, even if my other self is what you would call not as good at the play in this way. I will help them. They are my friend. They are my companion in this play. And if they are not good at it, let us laugh and use the humor to enjoy the not goodness of it. Let us make a big show of it and unravel this idea that all things must be ordered and structured and correct, or this is control, and this is not the way of the positively polarized being. It is acceptance, acceptance of the chaos, acceptance of the things not going the way you want, and so on. And lastly, if the manner of play is such that it induces actions that are naturally of a dense and negative nature, where the play is distorted from the get-go, so to speak, then you may simply find another kind of play where you will not have such painful run-ins so to speak, due to the nature of the play. It is the difference between running barefoot in the open field with flowers and choosing to run barefoot in the field of needles. Both you may bring the vibration of play to, but one will naturally cause you to cut the feet and bleed out and cry out in pain and become frustrated, or the playing field is itself one of hurt and danger, where you may bring the play to the grassy field of flowers and run freely, for the avenue itself is light and of a gentle nature. We hope our humble opinions have offered some clarity on this, our brother. If not, you may query us further.
Thank you.
We thank you. Our dearly beloveds, we will begin to depart this vessel. We thank you for your love light, for your searing dedication, for your kind hearts, for your seeking natures. We thank you for holding the line, so to speak, on this world and supporting the evolution of yourselves and other selves. We love you very, very much. And we leave you now where we always find you, in the eternal light and incomparable love of our beloved one and infinite Creator, Adonai.